At this point, I don't know whether people should protest against the justice system in this country or what, but ladies and gentlemen, this is totally unacceptable. I mean, how many crimes that a person has to commit? How many lives that a person has to take in order for us to finally realize that, you know what, this kind of a person is an animal and deserves to live in the jungle, and make sure that he stays in the jungle. There's a reason why a wild animal stays in the jungle and lives in the jungle. Because they are vicious and full of, violence. So there's no possible way they can live with human beings. Because they don't have the humanity, and they also don't know how to control themselves around people. And same thing applies to this man that has been released recently from prison for killing a 6-year-old boy. Did you hear what I just said? Let me repeat what I just said so that the people at the back can hear me. This man was released from prison for killing a 6-year-old boy. I mean, this man should be sentenced life in prison. What the hell is he doing on the streets? What's going on here? So now he has been released after serving only 10 years in prison. So apparently, he has been released for good behavior. It's quite ironic how someone who broke into someone's house and killed a child now is being released from prison for good behavior. Key word, ladies and gentlemen, good behavior. Do you hear how insidious that sounds? Can you even imagine how heartbreaking it will be for that family, seeing the man who, took their little boy away from them, roaming freely on the streets, moving on with his life? Can you imagine, the amount of torment it will cause in that family? Because clearly they haven't healed completely after that tragedy that has transpired to that little boy. So essentially this will be like as if someone is rubbing salt on top of their wounds, the same wounds that haven't healed yet. The government has to intervene and do something about the injustice system in this country, because clearly it's broken and it's completely failing to do its part. To salvage this whole absurdity, the government has to set the record straight. They need to enforce the law, not just place it there and, fold their arms, but they have to enforce it down those, criminals' throats, just so that they can have a clear understanding of what happens when you break, the law. The government have to make examples of those, kinds of individuals, just to show the criminals and those who are thinking of committing crime that there are some serious, repercussions for that kind of a behavior. And oftentimes, it can be extremely illogical for us to blame the children for that bad behavior. Whereas it's the parents' fault for not setting boundaries and navigating them into the right path. And in this instance, we are the children, and our government is the parent. And as a responsible parent, it's their duty to make sure that everything they do is for the people's best interest. And justice is part of that. So guys, my name is Johannes. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. See you next time. Cheers.